Kinghua. I'm from a small place in Sarawak. So since I was young, I had a frail and weak body. I have the weakest body among all my other siblings. So during my high school years, I started experiencing tummy aches and menstrual cramps and constipation. And at that time, I took a lot of painkillers to help resolve those problems. And my menstrual cramps were very severe. There was once where I even had to miss a test as it was hurting so badly. And my cramps would always last for a whole day. So I have to get painkillers to help ease it down a little. It was really suffering as menstrual cramps remains to be one of my unhappiest memories. I faced even more problems when I was in college. Due to my imbalanced diet, there was once when my stomach aches recurred while I was in class. So I walked back to my dorm. Actually, that day, I stayed in my room for one whole day and one whole night. No matter how much painkillers I take or how much stomachache medicine I take, nothing worked. It only slowly eased down the next day. It was also during college when my worst menstrual cramps took place. Because my cramps were really bad, I went to the restroom. And I almost passed out in the restroom. But I told myself that I have to get up and walk myself up. After that, I went looking for my roommates to have them help me to do some traditional massages. Because this was something my father used to do for me back at home. And I was able to ease the cramps a little after some massages. My friends also went to neighboring rooms to borrow some Panadol for me. So during that time, can you imagine how much painkillers I would consume? From high school throughout college years, I've been consuming painkillers every day, but these painkillers only helps to ease the pain. And because of one of my college friends, I was able to come across Elken spirulina. My menstrual cramps and stomachache conditions had improved a lot because of it. I also experienced constipation during college. My diet was simple and mainly made up of veggies and eggs. There wasn't a lot of meat in my diet. Even with this type of diet, I still experienced severe constipation. There even was once where I had no bowel movement for a whole week. Can you imagine that? In the end, I started having blood in my stools. And after consuming Elken's lactose, my constipation gradually improved. And after that, I thought my body was finally healthy. But it was only after I got married that I realized another health condition of mine. It was hard for me to get pregnant. I also experienced many miscarriages. Actually, I've had 4 miscarriages in total. And all these are surgical miscarriages. And with all these, my body ought to be very weak and damaged. Therefore, I've been consuming Elken's LD Venus and LG6 to replenish my body. And after 2 miscarriages, I finally succeeded in giving birth to my eldest daughter. I had to lay on the sick bed for 5 months. And in these 5 months, I couldn't eat normal food, like noodles or rice. So all I ate was maybe a cup of milk or Milo with some crackers. So I ate those for the sake of surviving. If I have the choice to not eat, I wouldn't have ate because I really had no appetite at all. However, I know that spirulina and Xenergy can help the baby in my womb. Therefore, no matter how much I despise eating anything, I would make sure to eat these 2 products. So actually, when I went for a checkup for the first month, the doctor told me that I have anemia. So therefore, I was very afraid to eat any iron supplements. Instead, I ate 30 tablets of spirulina. So on my next visit to the doctors, he said that I no longer have that condition. So Elken's spirulina is really good for a pregnant woman as it helps to replenish blood. After 9 months, I finally succeeded in giving birth to my daughter. I had 2 other surgical miscarriages. While I was pregnant with my son, I also had to lie down on the sick bed for 5 months. And I remember very clearly that it was Christmas Eve and I had been ill for a whole month. It was around 10 p.m. at night. So I felt as if there was something coming out from my lower body. So I quickly rushed to the restroom to check, and sure enough, there was pregnancy spotting. Oh, actually, because I had a history of miscarriages, my doctor told me that I would have a high risk of getting pregnancy spotting. And if I get pregnancy spotting during my pregnancy now, the chance of having a healthy baby is very low. And when I heard that, I was very, very sad because I have been sick for a whole month and I have taken the time to let my body heal. I was very nice of letting my body to rest. Yet, I still got pregnancy spotting in the end. While I was lying on the bed, I was really frantic and I was so helpless because I didn't know what to do. While I was crying, I suddenly looked over and saw a bottle of Xenergy on the table. And I suddenly remembered how Fionn used to tell us about how she was pregnant in an advanced maternal age and how her baby had no heartbeat. So after consuming Xenergy, after 2 weeks, her baby had heartbeat again. No matter how difficult it was for me to eat anything, I would still be persistent in consuming 3 teaspoons of Xenergy. After that, I laid on my bed and kept telling myself that my baby is healthy. So because I was very worried, on the next day, I immediately went to look for my doctor. And I was very fortunate because my doctor told me that my baby is well and my baby's heartbeat is normal and everything was normal. I was so happy that I cried happy tears. So when I went back home, I immediately consumed 1 bottle of Xenergy in 3 days. I also drank 8 ampoules of Kington on that day because I know that I have to keep my baby healthy because it wasn't easy for me in the first place to even get pregnant. So every day I will continue lying on the bed, being sick, but I would still be persistent in eating those supplements. Never stop eating Kington, Xenergy, Spirulina, and LG6. And I've been consuming it for about several months, and 9 months later, I succeeded in giving birth to my son. And his skin was really fair and really pretty. So despite all those pregnancy conditions I had, my baby that I gave birth to was very healthy. And that is all because of Elken supplement. Because even the doctor said that I didn't have much chance in giving birth to a healthy baby, but I succeeded anyways in giving birth to 2 healthy babies. But of course, while our kids are growing up, for sure they will get sick every now and then, right? So while my daughter was 8, her lips started had allergies, like it would start shedding and it would become really dry. Because I didn't pay much attention to it, it became more severe as day passed by. So actually, my heart aches every time she kisses me on the cheek because I could feel how rough her lips are. So actually, her condition was very severe because when I looked closely at her lips, there were actually a lot of cracks on it. Besides that, it was also bleeding and there was some yellow stuff on it too. So her lips condition was severe and it was really infected and inflamed. And at that time, I was really helpless and people around me kept telling me to bring her to the doctors. And of course, I did brought her to the doctors, but the doctor gave her a cream and my daughter would always wipe it off when I applied the cream on her lips because it would sting. So therefore, I threw away the cream instead. And when I went back home, I gave her Alpha Hex. I gave her 2 soft gels of Alpha Hex a day, and I also gave her Kington. So around 2 to 4 ampoules a day. And in half a year, I realized that my daughter's lip condition, was recovered completely. My daughter's lip condition managed to be healthy again, to be resolved in just a year. And they healed without using any type of medication. And I am so happy because my daughter is finally healthy and well again. And there were also no scars on her lips as well. So next, when my son was 3, he was diagnosed with chickenpox. His whole face was full of spots, and I was thinking to myself, oh my, why is it so severe? How is it that it's so serious? People also told me that when you have chicken pox, your face would itch a lot. And because of that, I gave him a lot of King10 and Alpha Hex. As you can see from this picture, you can see that there are a lot of chicken pox on his face, but yet he has no scars on his face as of now. And I also dabbed some LG6 powder on his chicken pox as well. So I really want to thank Elken because it has helped both of my kids while they were sick. So when my son was 4, he got gastroenteritis while after a trip with his grandpa. So because he was vomiting and having diarrhea, I sent him to the hospital. So before sending my son to the hospital, I gave him 2 ampoules of King10 because he was having high fever. And as you can see, after he was sent to the hospital, he was still having high fever. So the doctor gave him some wet towel to wrap around his body. So for every 2 hours, I would give him 2 ampoules of King10. I would mix it with some Zenergy as well. So usually when kids have fever, their throat would get really dry and it will get inflamed or infected. And when that happens, the doctor would need to give them some medicine like antibiotics to help with that. But my son was very fortunate because the doctor never prescribed him with any antibiotics for that. Because the King10 I gave him had helped with the inflammation. So I am very grateful because these supplements had made my kids healthy again. So if you look at the refrigerator at my house, you won't be able to find any type of medication inside because I would always have King10 for backup. So I really want to tell all parents, you need to have King10 at your home as a backup, and you can use them for emergency uses when your kids are sick. So till now, I would let my son and daughter consume Elken spirulina, LG6, and gummy C, and their health has been maintaining ever since. Even without constantly worrying or taking care of their health, all they need to do is just eat these products and they can always maintain their health. So my son, he's really cute because he used to drink a lot of King10 before, and now when he wants to drink King10, he will say that, my throat is kind of itchy, but actually it isn't itchy, he just wants to drink King10. So King10 is really, really helpful, and you should have them at your home because it can help your whole family, especially kids. So thank you, Elken, for giving me such healthy kids. And after talking about my kids, I want to add on another condition of mine. So I have been experiencing pain in my leg for 15 to 18 years. So my leg would hurt so much that I wouldn't be able to step on the car pedal. And one of my worst leg pain occurred also during my college years. So because my leg was hurting so badly, I couldn't do anything besides keep on hitting on it. And I didn't have any solutions that could help ease my pain. But when I entered the society, so I became a teacher, and while I was teaching, my leg was hurting so badly that I couldn't stand to teach, and it affected my work. So all these conditions forced me to go look for doctors. And also, actually during like Elken meetings before, I would keep walking around because if I sit too long, my legs would start hurting. So I would get up when I sit for too long, and then when I walk for too long, I would sit back down again. So actually, I keep on doing this on and off, and I might have caused a disturbance to those around me. And because of that, my Elken friends would bring me to for some traditional massages, but even after those, there were still no improvements at all. And actually, every time after those massages, my leg would feel so lifeless, like my right calf, like I would be limping and stuff. So as traditional as Chinese doctors didn't work, I went to look for Western doctors, and they still weren't able to diagnose what was wrong with my leg, and I even went to MRI scans. Yet, the specialist told me that they didn't know what was wrong with my leg and they couldn't tell what was the issue. So ever since that day, I stopped looking for doctors. Instead, I relied on Elken's MRT supplements and Elken's molecular reform therapy. I also included some Elken's guasa techniques, and because of that, my leg was able to recover around 60 to 70%, and it wasn't hurting as much as before. So in 2018, Elken launched Easy Pants, and I told myself it'll be wonderful if this pants could help ease my pain, even if it's only 50%. And indeed, after putting on those pants, my legs felt so comfortable. It's hard to describe the feeling. It wasn't too tight, it was just right, and my hurting cough was very well taken care of. So I also had car sick and air sick, but LX Young helped me resolve that. However, there's still this other problem that bothers me, which is if I sit for too long, my waist would get stiff. And after plane rides, I would get really uncomfortable. However, because of Easy Pants, I was able to sit on the plane ride comfortably, and when I got down from the plane, I didn't feel any discomfort. My waist, my calf was doing really well. I didn't feel any discomfort at all. So in these 3 years, my leg condition had gotten a lot of improvements, and I'm very happy because Easy Pants had once again helped me. For a person like me that has so many health conditions, for example, not being able to get pregnant and having a difficult pregnancy, but I'm still able to give birth to 2 healthy babies. And all these wouldn't happen without Elken. With these series of MRT products, I was able to be healthy again. I believe that even a frail and weak person like me can be healthy. You guys too can be healthy. So really, if it wasn't for Elken's products, I wouldn't be here today sharing with you all about my experiences. And if you guys still don't have king tin at your house, you need to get yourself some king tin now, immediately. Have them as backup at your house so that you can use them during emergency. Once again, thank you Elken, and I hope that my sharing is helpful for you all. Thank you.